My name is Chad Trofton. Welcome to Ambition Office Hours. This is our second one this month. This is something that we'll start up as a cadence going forward, 2 times a month, to be able to add additional value to you guys. We value everyone's partnership. So hopefully you guys will get a lot out of today. Please feel free to raise any questions up in the chat itself. We'll hopefully get to many of those. And if we don't, we'll certainly get to you directly after today's session. So I'm going to launch right into it. Today, we just want to be able to take you guys through some high-level overviews on Ambition TVs, one of our core functionalities. It's something that we see so much value added to so many of our partners. Many of you probably are extremely familiar with our Ambition TVs. And so hopefully today you'll learn a little something new, or you learn some new things to apply into your model. So I wanted to go ahead and do some quick introductions. Again, my name is Chad Trofton. I'm a customer success manager within our enterprise team here at Ambition, and I'll let Emma and Mary as well introduce themselves.
Hey everyone, I'm Emma Hamilton. I am a mid-market customer success manager here at Ambition, and we're just super excited to have everyone join us again, and we have a really fun topic today. It's going to be great.
Hey there, my name is Mary Foster. I am the product and customer marketing manager here at Ambition. So hopefully you've seen some helpful, useful content come from the customer marketing team. And if you have any suggestions for us for future office hours, ideas, topics, questions, feel free to leave those in the chat.
Awesome. Well, guys, we're going to go ahead and get it started and kick off some of our content today. So quickly, we're going to run through this deck here, this PowerPoint, and kind of take you through some high-level overviews on TVs and some resources that we'll share. After today's conclusion, you'll get a wrap-up. You'll get a copy of this as well as the deck itself, so you'll be able to reference some of the resources that we've included in here. And after we wrap up the presentation from this, we're going to jump over into my sandbox instance, and we're going to jump through and show you guys an actual sales TV with a number of the different slide types that we've built out, and just to show you guys full capability of the platform. If you're new to it, or if you're new position that requires more building out of feature sets within our platform, wanted to give you full overview there, and then we'll open it up to some of the questions that we received through registration, and then give you guys some time back on your calendar, hopefully. So, without further ado, I'll go ahead and jump into things. So obviously with our Ambition TVs, visibility and recognition is made easy. That's the core of what we try to do at Ambition. We want to constantly find new ways for leaderships to visualize data and to recognize employees. That is kind of the core of what we do here. And so hopefully today you'll see more ways to do that, and more ways to make you guys' life a little easier, and make your sales teams a little more fun, and drive a little engagement within your teams. So kind of starting at a high level overview around, what do these TVs provide? What's in it for you guys? Visibility. We did some research, and it looks like around 32% of reps are motivated by visibility in their numbers. Nothing is more visible than walking around a sales floor that's weaponized with sales TVs up on the walls. There's everywhere you look, there's a view into numbers. So much of our day-to-days in the sales world is data overload. How do we trim that down? How do we provide the most effective look into the data in a quick, seamless manner? So these sales TVs and some of the things that we'll talk to today will hopefully give you guys new ways to do this, new ways to help add more visibility into your sales teams, add more visibility into your organization. That ultimately is going to provide, like you said, a more satisfied rep base. They're going to know where they are standing. They're more motivated to track towards those numbers. And that kind of segues us right into motivation. How does this help? Like I said, we were building research out for this office hours. It looks like, recognition for contributions is more fulfilling to a lot of people than getting a simple gift. We see, just simply wanting to be at the top of a leaderboard, or wanting to be recognized for some of the cool new ways you've added with new styles of leaderboards, with most improved rank and most improved value that we'll take you through a little bit later. That's a huge win for a lot of your reps. They want to be able to be recognized for the hustle. What they're doing on the front lines of the sales world is not an easy job. And it can be a grind a lot of times. And now, we have new ways to help recognize the hustle and things that your teams are already putting in. Obviously, within Ambition, recognition is one of our core functionalities. So we're going to talk about triggers that you'll see, anthems that your teams can create and your individual reps can create to have a good time, to have more fun, to make it personalized, to where their peers know when they see or hear that anthem going off that that corresponds back to Emma or Mary or Chad, myself. We know that what our anthems are. We have folks that change their anthem on a daily basis. We have folks that change their anthem or set their anthem from the beginning and never mess with it again. So it really depends on your rep base and how they interact with each other. But it's a really fun way to drive a lot of engagement and to have fun through a core Ambition platform feature. Additionally, I talked about earlier, we're going to have, when we share this deck out of today's session, you'll have links in here to different help documents around how you can brand your TVs, how you can, a high level overview of our TV builder. So I'll show you through the slide setup process, the high level click throughs of what you can do there, triggers, how to set those up. If your organization utilizes Slack, there's a help doc in here where you can set up a trigger to go to your Slack channels. It's something we utilize a lot here at Ambition, and it's a great way for us to keep in touch. Like for my role being in the customer success organization, I constantly get updates from our sales team every time we're bringing on a new customer. A trigger is going off within our Slack profiles. So it's a huge opportunity for me to stay engaged with everything that's going on in multiple orgs within Ambition. So again, something else you guys can think about as you're thinking about ways to continue to drive engagement through the platform and to continue to engage with your teams. Additionally, some more resources that you'll see, kind of like best practices, things like that, will all be here at your fingertips when we share this out of today's session. So without further ado, I'm going to get out of this deck here and I'm going to jump over into an Ambition TV. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through basically a demo of each slide type that we have within Ambition in a real live TV instance so that you can see what this would visually look like on your TV. Ambition TVs are really flexible in that they're URL based. So if you don't have TVs up on up on a wall on your sales floor, whether it's geographic constraints or real estate constraints, things like that, you can actually share these URLs with your team. We can help you with that and setting up a token to be able to let your reps bookmark onto their personal computers or their laptops. So that way, if you don't have, like I said, TVs on the walls, you can still create this. This is not just for folks that have a room full of monitors on the wall. This can be for any type of organization, any level of ability in terms of technical resources or things like that. So I'm going to jump into our Ambition TV and quickly show you guys some of our core functionalities. So one of the best things that I'm going to start with here, you're going to see a lot of data up here. I'm actually going to go to the next slide because we'll come back to that one. One of my favorite things about Ambition TVs is right up here. When you log into your TV or when you click into your TV URL, you're going to see this cogwheel up here. When you click on that, it's going to give you a couple of options. And one of the things that you can do here is enable presentation mode. And that's what I'm going to turn on today. Typically, Ambition TVs cycle through on a cadence based off of the time that's selected on building that slide out. When you enable presentation mode, what that will allow you to do is to click through your slides at your own pace. Why we enable this? So I have customers that they lead daily stand-ups, weekly stand-ups, things like that with their teams. And what this can enable is, you can put as much data as you need as a leader on these TV slides, and we'll talk through that. But when you get that data in place, it really will enable you to lead your stand-up meetings. Get the right metrics in place for your team, and you can lead your daily stand-up calls. What you're looking at here is a metric slide. So we have the ability to put up to 3 metrics on a slide. You set the cadence for what the time frame that you want to display. So you can see here, I've put 3 metrics on this slide from our BDR team. So you can see it's cadenced as like time period over time period. So this is all month over month. So last month versus this month. One of the cool things is if your team ever exceeds that cadence, whether it's previous day's performance, previous week, previous month, previous quarter, on any of these, if we were to exceed this, you'll see we're pretty close. That's why these 3 are green. But if we were to exceed this, say we got up to 58,001 calls, this would actually turn to a fire GIF. And we'll just let you know immediately when you walk in, you're going to see your team's crushing it. They've exceeded the previous cadence's performance, and you're able to really to have some fun with it. But you know that when you see this, it's kind of like a heat map. So you'll see red, yellow, green, basic performance. Obviously, as you get closer and closer to that target, these will get green, and you'll know that your teams are tracking in the right direction over that cadence of time. It just gives you a great way as leaders to be able to put as much data as you want in any place, and you can set it and forget it a lot of times. You don't have to put an end date on these slides, so you can create a slide like this and not put an end date, and it's going to automatically continue to update on the cadences that you set. So if you always want to have a month-over-month look into your performance on these 3 types of metrics, it will constantly, continually update. That way we're taking the administrative burden off of managers and allowing this to just kind of be a set and forget it type module for this type of slide. So again, that was kind of a high level overview of the capability of our metrics slide. Obviously we have the ability to do up to 3 metrics on these slides. And I'm going to take you through a number of other slide types before we jump back in the platform and show you how some of these are configured. So what you'll see here is we have actually the ability, if you have work anniversaries, if your teams have populated that data, whether it's flowed over from Salesforce or they can actually manually input that in their profile itself. You can set these slides up, and you'll set it the same way that you would identify your hierarchy. But after that's done, it's actually, if there is nobody, say, you don't have to worry about a blank slide showing if there's nobody that day or week or heck, even a month. These slides will only show if there's actual data for those folks on that day. So again, a quick way that you guys, like we talked about recognition, a quick way for managers to be able to recognize employees for their dedication and their service with the company without really having to do any heavy lifting at all. Once you set the slide, you can forget it and keep it in your scroll of slides perpetually. Additionally, I want to continue on through our different slide types as we talk about one of our capabilities. So out of the Ambition Analytics, one of the cool features we can do now is a saved graph. With that, late in Q4 of last year, we rolled out the ability to be able to publish a graph slide, a saved graph slide to Ambition. So now that we have that functionality in place, you guys can take all those reports that you built, all the graphs that you've built within Ambition Analytics, and now you can publish those as desired up onto your TVs. Gives you guys a number of flexibility into ways that you can visualize data, how you can present that to your teams. Again, just constantly trying to innovate and provide new ways for you guys as leadership to be able to put data out there to recognize your team's performance, to call out areas that you guys need to focus on a little heavier. Again, just a number of ways to be able to visualize the data there.
Hey, Chad, real quick question about the graph. Does that update or is it like a static image? So if I have it for February, does that update every day on the TV, or do you have to manually update the graph picture every day?
I believe if you saved it and you've applied those filters, it will stay on that same time frame. So it's 1 month ending, you can save that. But if you wanted to change the filters or things like that, you could jump back in, resave those new filter sets, and then upload that new slide to reflect, if it was a new time frame or anything like that.
That's awesome. Thanks.
Yep. So again, jumping back into slide capabilities here within competitions, obviously Ambition competitions are one of our core functionality. It's one of the first things that we started out with way back when Ambition was founded, with fantasy football competitions for sales teams. So as we've continued to iterate and innovate within the competition space, one of the things we wanted to be able to do was visualize competition performance within the Ambition TVs. So now you can display up to the top 5 participants within a competition on a TV slide. So after you create your competition, it's active, you can display that competition's results, and these will constantly update as the standings change and all of that. So again, another way to just recognize reps, to recognize teams as you guys are performing, and just a fun way to be able to continue to drive that spirit of competition that we're always looking for within our sales teams. Something I wanted to talk about here is accolades. So accolades are one of my favorite features of Ambition. A lot of my customers get a lot of legwork out of being able to recognize employees in new ways. So within accolades, it's similar to a goal in that you're going to set it off. You can set it off of a metric attainment. You'll see here, this is a $50,000 revenue in a month accolade. You can also do manager discretion. So one of my favorite accolades, what we call internally, is the Extra Grit Award. So imagine if my leader, she's able to log on, it's 9 o'clock at night, she sees I'm still on, working on a customer account or something like that. The next morning I can wake up, jump into my email, and I'm going to see a message from her that's saying like, thanks for putting in the extra hard work, is a hustle. And in a few clicks, she's able to assign an accolade to me. And again, without previously having a mechanism for that, there's no real easy way to do that other than just saying an email or something like that. Now you can formally, recognize your employees with one click for manager discretion, or you can set these up, like I said, based off of metric attainment or value. Like this one is based off of a revenue attainment goal. You can set that and establish that and have two different kind of paths where you can recognize folks at your own cadence, or be able to recognize them almost, like I said, on an achievement of something. And I think one of the coolest things about this, sometimes, when I'm doing trainings with different clients, we talk about, how can what are the reps going to think about this? I've walked around, Fortune 200 organizations and seen reps that have actually physically printed off their accolades after the managers assign them to, and they have them posted up in their cubicle. And I think that speaks volumes for how important this is, how important recognition is for these employees. They're grinding day in and day out, and they when they are recognized, it means a lot to them. So I would encourage all of you guys to, if you haven't explored accolades in depth, I would encourage you guys to check out our help docs, reach out to your CSM anyway, and try to incorporate these in your day-to-day. They can be super simple that you just build out, like I said, manager discretion, and be able to just assign those to any of your reps at your own pace, or just set a few, and whether they're really, really, high targets, things $1 million in a year club or things like that, you can go that path, or set a little more achievable where people can kind of more consistently feel like they're being recognized for achieving goals that aren't so massive. As we go through, keep talking about goals, we'll transition into being able to display goals and ambition. So now that you can create, or now with our goal system, and you can create goals, we can display those within Ambition TVs. So again, you'll see this is an appointment set goal, a great way to track how your team is performing, how they're performing towards a target. So obviously we all have KPIs and metrics that we're being aligned to. This is a great way to help your teams visualize this. They can feel like they're a part of this. They can see that you guys are all working together towards a common goal, and that's really powerful and can really help drive some of the motivation. And if you do these goals in conjunction with a contest on the same metric and in that time frame, you can have some really cool wins where people are going to compete to try to hit that team goal and really set those benchmarks for going forward. As we continue cycling through the slides, I wanted to be able to show here for a birthday. You can see here you can have fun and you can engage with this. So same kind of concept. As a work anniversary slide, you don't have to worry about a blank slide coming up for every day that someone's in your team doesn't have a birthday. It's only going to populate if there's an individual in your team that has listed their birthday, or if that birthday has flown over from Salesforce feed or something like that. That's when this will display. So we'll give you a ton of ways. Like I said, we're always going back to recognition. It's the hot button word of today, and one of those ways to recognize individuals on their birthday here. So again, a fun way to interact with the platform. As we go into kind of wrapping up the last few slide types before we show you guys how some of these are configured, you're able to do some cool things in terms of messaging. So this slide right here could just be a simple message. Thanks so much for your hard work this week, team. Use your Ambition TVs as a communication platform. Work with your HR teams. If it's open enrollment season, make sure that you're putting up some slides that remind folks to go out and complete their open enrollment paperwork and engage with the HR team on the right cadences. And traditionally what we put here was team outing that we have coming up to a Predators game. You can put a timeline or kind of a ticker in here. So say if it's something you're working towards, if it's working towards Christmas or a big milestone, set a ticker in here that your teams can track this and continue to engage here and drive more eyes to the TVs constantly. What I'm going to jump into now, the last couple of slide types, I wanted to be able to show some different style of leaderboards. Again, I know we keep going back to recognition and how we can continue to enable your teams to be best recognized. I think there's some cool ways here where you can show our different styles of leaderboard. This is a traditional leaderboard. You guys are all familiar in the sales world. We are all on one-to-many leaderboards always. But this is a traditional, straightforward leaderboard. We wanted to expand on this, and what we wanted to do was be able to provide different ways to utilize leaderboard functionality, but do it in a way that could help recognize folks that may not fall into that front 10, or they may kind of, the hot button discussion around sales is nowadays is move in the middle. So how do we help move the middle percentage of your sales teams? And one of the ways we can do that is through some of the innovations that we've done within our leaderboard capabilities. So what you'll see here is a most improved meeting set. So this is a slide that we built out to display the capabilities of most improved value slide. We also have most improved rank. So what you're seeing here is a leadership team here that they've established a leaderboard where they want to show everybody that they may not be top 10 in terms of meetings set within the company. So they may not show up on that previous leaderboard you saw that's traditionally just going to show the top 10 performers. But they have shown a huge increase during a period of time cadence. It could be month over month, week over week, day over day, whatever you may be. You're now able to display that as a leaderboard. So you can now show, you can see Marcus here. He's still probably not in the top 10 for meetings set within his organization, but he's the number one because he's month over month, he's been able to increase his number of meetings set by 7. That's a huge shift. That's something that traditionally would be extremely difficult for a leadership team without a platform like this to be able to recognize. You'd have to put a snapshot report over a previous time snapshot report, go into Excel, build an Excel file, make some formulas, and figure out who was making the biggest moves for you. Now with a couple of clicks, you're able to display this as a full-fledged TV slide where people are able to be recognized for their performance and be able to say, hey, not only did you improved 7 this month, but that's a huge shift. I want to talk about what did you do differently? Are there learnings that you can share with the team? What changed month over month? Let's talk about it. Let's build that into, our discussions around, our go forward plan for the year. So again, very powerful insights you can gather out of this type of stuff. You can see where people are struggling. If, you're seeing folks that, are constantly needing more help on a certain area, it can help you drive some of those coaching discussions you guys are always looking for as leaders within the sales industry. Again, you're going to see here a traditional leaderboard. And one of the last slides I wanted to show before we jump into the platform to be able to actually walk you through how some of these are created is our multi-metric leaderboard. I think this is extremely powerful. This is something we rolled out in Q4 last year. And one of the coolest things that you can do is you can combine up to 5 metrics on a single leaderboard. The first metric that you use will be what it is ranked off of. So what I mean by that is you'll see here that you can see Mike has actually more leads than Theo does, but Theo is number 1 on the leaderboard because the first metric that was chosen for this slide, activity score, is kind of a benchmark metric for the rest of the leaderboard. So this is what's going to cause the ranking is this first slide that you choose, and everything else is just going to fill in ancillary data for the metrics that you've chosen for these individuals. Some more features on this that are really powerful. If you choose activity score or objective score, you can do percent to target. So that will give you this bar that you're going to see that's going to show you the trending towards 100% that you're going to want to see for all of your individuals and all of your contributors. And another feature here that I think is extremely powerful is each of the 5 metrics that you can put on our multi-metric leaderboards can be based off of a different cadence. So you'll see here, this is an activity score based off of today. This is a new leads rank off of this month, new contacts this quarter, and emails this week, and calls last month. So each of these are different time cadence, but you're still able to visualize this in one place. So hopefully you guys can see the power of being able to position this much data in front of your reps, readily available at their fingertips on a TV screen where they're walking by. This is what a lot of our customers will use on presentation mode to talk through performance or changes to things like that as they're working through a stand-up meeting with their teams. You can see here I was also able to build out additionally functionality within the platform here for multi-metric leaderboard is the ability to do what I talked about earlier, which is most improved rank and most improved value. So you can add that into these metrics, and you can see here this is a most improved rank. So you can see this. Theo went down this month in his new leads. Meanwhile, Mike made a huge jump. He's up 28 ranking positions this month. That's a huge shift. You want to be able to call that out. You want to be able to show that win, and be able to recognize these individuals. You can see here on value. So this is going to show you, Theo's had 117 less emails this week than last week. That's going to be able to show you how changes are shifting, how things are going in within your week or whatever time cadence you choose. And then you're going to see here just straight value. So I wanted to put as much functionality into this one slide as possible to be able to show you guys some of the power of these multi-metric slides. And we'll talk through again how these are configured in a few minutes.
Hey, Chad.
Yep.
One really good question that got sent through was, we had someone ask if they had new hires in the building, is there a slide they could have that would be similar to like the anniversary or birthday slides? And I just want to say the answer is yes. We do have either the multi-metric, or I'm sorry, not multi-metric, multimedia, or the message slide that you can configure however you'd like. You can upload an image. Maybe you want to create a graphic welcoming these new team members and upload that image, or you can simply use our message feature to write a quick message introducing them to the team. So I just wanted to point that out. And then another question we just got, what is the ribbon on the bottom? What is that generating, and is it customizable? Yes, all of the above. So when Chad goes through the TV builder, he'll talk about, we call it the ticker. So he'll cover that through our TV builder.
Thanks, Emma. So I wanted to follow up as well on Emma's question around, this is the last slide I'll go through before we'll jump back into the platform, but on our multimedia slide here. So you see we have an image uploaded. You also have the ability to upload a link to a video to play. You have the ability to upload, whatever fun image. You can upload a PowerPoint slide, a screen grab of that. If you take a screen share, a screenshot of a PowerPoint slide, you can upload that into Ambition. So again, for all functionality we can utilize. The last thing I want to touch on before we jump back into the platform and kind of show how some of these are configured is wanted to show you guys, if you're not familiar with Ambition Anthems, it's a functionality that we allow for reps and managers, everybody to go in and establish for their profile. And what it is typically we utilize YouTube, and your reps can pick a work appropriate song, video, whatever it may be. So when they are able to actually fire off an Ambition trigger, you'll actually, what that means is their anthem can play. So imagine you set a trigger for your team of anytime anybody hit 100 calls in a day. And that happened. So whenever you're going to go through that, let me quickly turn off presentation mode. You'll be able to, their customized anthem will play. So they'll be recognized for, not only publicly for hitting that target, but like I said, they can customize their video. They can have fun with it. They can change this and do something that's fun and customized to them to celebrate their win, to celebrate their milestone that they hit, whatever it's set for them in a trigger or a different performance area. So again, just a fun way that your reps can customize their performance. You guys can have fun with it and really drive more engagement through Ambition. So I'm going to stop there in terms of presenting our TV itself and jump gears into the TV builder and talk through what we can do in terms of establishing these different ways we can build these slides out. So you'll see here we've got our TV builder up. That's what has created the slide over here. When you jump into Ambition, I'll quickly just navigate how, if you haven't built a TV before, when you're in your landing page, you can come over here to left-hand nav. You go down to administration, click on TVs, and it will take you in your TV builder. Additionally, with our quick help buttons, you can jump in to build a TV right here and do that as well. So again, just giving you guys multiple ways to do things, to be flexible in how you build these TVs out for your teams. So I'm going to show you here all the slides that we just showed on this TV exist here. So you'll see the ability to come in here and name your TV. You can brand it, like we talked about. You can see we kind of went with the Dunder Mifflin office theme for this TV. You can set a default anthem for your TVs as well, like we just showed with the Rocky video if you wanted that. Your slide section is where you're actually going to configure and create or edit existing slides or add additional content to an existing TV. You'll always have the ability to find the URL, what I was talking about earlier around being able to share a URL if your team does not have, or your office does not have monitors on the walls, or if there's some other constraint that prevents you from displaying this centrally, you can distribute this URL to your teammates and be able to share this. They can bookmark it on their TVs or on their computers or laptops and be able to access this or leave it in the background. So that way, as you're making updates, even if they're not able to see the TV, or say if you have remote employees that you want to continue to engage with your in-office teams, this is a great way to do that as well. So we had a question earlier around ticker. How does that work? So you'll see here within the ticker itself, you can come in here, you can customize quotes, you can add quotes. You have the ability to add as many as you'd like, and it will just cycle through. So that's a great way to customize your experience. If you're in the sales world, there's so many great sound bites and quotes that come across LinkedIn and all the different chat forums and Slack channels and all of that for the sales industry. You can go in and you can add any quotes you like and be able to customize your TV as much as you like. Additionally, you'll see the triggers functionality here. So you'll see this was an activity trigger that we talked about earlier. You have the ability here within the trigger section to automatically jump in and create a trigger for that TV, which is a great functionality. It saves you guys a couple of clicks rather than having to go back out, create a trigger within the normal platform under reporting, and then come in and apply that trigger that you saved. This can help kind of cut some of that steps out and cut a few clicks out for you. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back in our TV builder, and I'm going to go through how some of these slides are configured. I'm going to start with the multi-metric slide because I just want to be able to show you guys some of the functionality here. This is how this was additionally set up. So obviously within Ambition, you always have to name your TV or your slide itself. So you're going to want to name what are you trying to show. So this could be anything. This was obviously based off, like I talked about, the number one metric for this. It's going to drive the rankings for that multi-metric leaderboard was activity score. So this is what we wanted to show was a daily activity score leaderboard. And me as a leader, I wanted to show a few extra things. So I added in additional layers with those metrics we talked through earlier. So you'll name your slide. You'll choose the type of slide that you want. Again, this is a leaderboard slide. So when you choose that, you're going to be able to see, obviously the selections that are applicable to setting up a leaderboard slide. You're going to choose, you can augment the slide order with which these are in place. So that will just change around how they're going to cycle through on the TV carousel. You can change all the durations of these slides. So obviously these are the defaults, 10, 20, 40, and 60 seconds for a slide. You can choose a start date. You can choose an end date. If you don't choose an end date for a leaderboard slide, once you go through the work of setting these up off this cadence, it will continually, the system will continuously update these slides based off of this information. So you'll always have the accurate look into the time frame and the work that you put in setting up this initially. You'll be able to come in here and select your metrics. So we can come in and we can edit any of these metrics. You can change the time frame. Say if you wanted to say, I want this to be activity score. I wanted to, instead of today, I wanted it to be, we changed our mind as an organization. We made a shift from daily activity score to weekly activity score. You can make that change. You can establish the rank by. So you can come in and do like what we talked about around, most improved value, most improved rank, percent to target. Obviously, we would like to see percent to target for this, for activity and objective scores. And then you're able to actually do some cool things here with basically some keystrokes that we have in some of the help docs that we'll share. If you want to do, obviously the hot button issue now is, millennials, and obviously with emojis, those are a fun way to interact with platforms. So say if you had a long metric that was titled something, but it was basically, around calls or something like that, we actually have the ability to now, you could come out here, you could find a telephone, you'd be able to choose that. And instead of, that long title for the metric coming up as, calls, inbound, outbound, that metric name, you could come out here and you could find a, phone emoji. You could add that for that and then have it apply to your metric. And that's what it will actually display in Ambition TVs. So again, cool ways to have fun with this, to just customize it as much as you'd like for your teams. You can add in or remove as many of these as you like. You have up to 5 metrics on the slide, so just be mindful of that. Again, you can customize each time. Each metric is going to allow you to customize the time frame for what you're showing and how that will be ranked by. So make sure you can go in and do that and be flexible there. And then the most important piece as you're building out these TV slides is making sure your hierarchy set. So what's consistent across Ambition is hierarchy setup. So you have to really make that choice around what you're trying to display. So are you trying to see your team at an aggregated level? So you want to see your performance of all BDRs at an aggregated level, or do you want to see performance of reps within that BDR group? So what you can do here, obviously I wanted to display individual performance. So you go out and you choose users within, and then you can navigate and find your team, or however your ambition hierarchy is set up for your organization. Users within and in a sales team or a project team or a role can all be applied this way. If you wanted to navigate out and go show a team, obviously you could jump in and do that. You could find a team there and customize and select those teams. And that way, instead of seeing Chad, Emma, and Mary's performance, you're going to see the CS team and Ambition's performance at a roll up. So again, we'll give you the flexibility there. Some questions that we get are around how many I have 30 people on my team. What is this going to do for me? I want to see everybody's performance. So you have the ability to customize how many folks show. So say if you had 30 people on your team and you wanted to set this leaderboard, you could just type in 30 here, and it's going to cycle through. It's going to put 10 people on each of these slides, and 3 slides are going to create, and they're going to show all of your reps, all their performance from 1 to 30, and it'll just cycle through that cadence. So if this was at 20 seconds, you're going to see 3 20-second slides come through until they display the results for everyone on your team. So what that will enable down here, once we get this in place, you can show as many reps as you want. You can come down, and there's the last few things you can check. Obviously, you can do a bottom 10 leaderboard. You can do users that have zeros or no data at all. And you have the ability to always preview your slides before you save anything to the platform. So you can see this looks right to me. I'm good with this. Now I can feel comfortable clicking save and adding that to my sales TV. And then you can come back into your sales TV, obviously quickly refresh and make sure that it's going to show what you wanted it to show, which it is. It's showing now, reflecting the changes, the things that I did within the platform that are now reflected within my Ambition TV. So as we go through, I'm going to create a new slide, and I'm going to show you guys, we're going to make a test, and we're going to do a metric slide because we've already gone through leaderboard. So again, I wanted to show you guys capabilities around as we're going through here. So we're not going to choose an end date. I want to see these metrics going forward. We're going to select an entity. So I want it to be at my BDR role. I can choose up to 3 metrics for this team. So I want to see calls, and I want to see them for this month. I want to see emails, and I want to be able to see that for this month as well. And then quickly, like we said earlier, once I'm like, okay, I want to see a month-over-month look always for calls and emails, quickly make sure preview, see what it looks like. Obviously, we're tracking positively. We're not all the way to where we were last month. We still have a couple of days to get there, and we'll see what we can do as a team and see if we can get over this. And like I said earlier, if you're able to, your team ever achieves or exceeds performance, cadence over cadence, whether that's month over month, day over day, week over week, this will actually turn into, it will still show the same text, but the background, instead of being green, will show a fire emoji or a fire GIF. That way you know that your team is crushing it, they're on fire, and they're doing good things. So again, just fun ways to interact with the platform. We quickly save this, and now we're going to jump back into our TVs. We'll do a refresh, and we'll go out and be able to find our test for you. So here we are. Here's our test slide for metrics, and it's already populated for us. I didn't put a delete date on it, so now every month this is going to continually update. It's going to be able to continue to be kind of a set and forget for you guys. Again, we're constantly trying to figure out new ways that we can take administrative burden off of you guys as leaders within the platform, and to make it as seamless and as smooth of a process as possible for you as you're setting this up. Again, I want to just jump back into your ability to make any customizations within the ticker, create any triggers that you want right here and apply them to your TV. And you have the ability, obviously, to come back in and customize your setup within the TV itself. So I know I've gone through a ton of information on TVs in a short amount of time, and I want to make sure that we get to a couple of questions. And so I'll pause there and see what kind of questions we can answer in the last few minutes that we have you guys today, and appreciate your time.
Yeah, we do have a couple questions. So the first one we're going to get to is, this is kind of off the topic of TVs, but how can I gamify without getting stale? So definitely see that sometimes if sales leaders are running the same competition week over week over week, sometimes I'll see a staleness in their rep engagement. So Chad, what would you say to kind of keeping that engagement lively?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great question. And then something we see with accounts of all sizes, from enterprise down to our small, medium businesses. So one of the things that we recommend is changing up the cadences like you talked about. You never want to have too long of a competition that people can feel withdrawn or lose interest. And you never want to have, you don't want to have 5 mornings every morning of the week. You want to have a contest that people are going to get burned out on. So I think really it's important as an organization to find what makes the most sense for your teams. And I think what that is often is a good mix of different types of cadences. So if you want to have a quick start, we have a number of clients that do quick start competitions. So they want their reps to get started early in the morning. So instead of doing a 5 days a week a quick start competition, maybe make it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then in the meantime, build out some competitions on top of that. So have a monthly competition, have a quarterly competition, have different cadences so that they're not always feeling burnt out, that there's constantly competing. And then ultimately also, I think it's important to save, if you want to have it to be a very long competition, make sure that it's set up to where your reps are going to feel long-term that they're contributing to it and not feel discouraged after 1 month and feel like they can't make up the difference and they can't compete anymore, because we never want them to lose engagement. So I think it's really about a couple of things, Emma. It's about making sure that you're mixing up the cadence with what you are establishing competitions, and also at the same time making sure what you're competing on allows the most competition and allows flexibility for those folks that might have a bad week, but there's a way for them to claw back into it as they progress through the time frame.
That's awesome. Another question that came through is someone was talking about how they have a bunch of TVs they need to set up for a lot of different segments of reps they have. And each of those TVs are going to be displaying different data with some universal slides scattered in there at the organization level. So can someone build a TV and then duplicate it?
So you can copy slides and things like that. You can actually duplicate a TV. One of the cool things that we are working on internally for this year is to centrally manage TVs. So that way, if you created one slide that needed to be on 50 TVs wide, you'd be able to display that to all of them. So that's something that will be coming sometime in 2020. But as it exists right now, you can duplicate, but it will allow you to come in. You'd have to come in and edit those slides to make sure that they were reflecting what you wanted to show, instead of, each team is going to have a different perspective. Probably they're going to have different things they want to track, but it can take a little bit of the administrative burden if you do through that path.
Awesome. Another great question we got sent in was, how can you set goals to monitor progress?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll jump into our platform here and quickly walk through goal creation. I think it's one of the best features of Ambition. Obviously, I took you guys through the goal slide that you saw, but as we come over into here to be able to create a goal for a team, I'll quickly walk through that. So we're going to create a test goal here. We wanted to say hit your numbers. It's going to be one of the cool things is you're going through setup of a goal. You're going to have the ability also up here, whenever you're creating a goal, we have best practices on goals linked within the goal builder. So never hesitate to read into this. We have a number of articles, different things like that also on our blogs that talk about goals as well. So you have different types of goals. So you have contributions, which is what we're going to do today around a metric. You can do capabilities. You can do connections around things that are outside of Ambition. It could be LinkedIn type stuff, or career goals. Talk to somebody about what we do a lot. Our CS leader, she actually established a book club for us, and so around quarterly we have a sales book or a negotiation book or a relationships book for customers, things like that we work through, and we're able to establish that as a goal, make sure that we are tracking towards that. We're always trying to self-improve and grow as CSM so that we can better serve you guys as our partners. So you have the ability there to do career goals, things like that. But we're going to do today, and what you guys will probably most commonly do is around contribution. And additionally, you have the ability to make a goal public or private. So if you wanted to just establish a goal for an individual directly, you can do that privately and choose just that single individual. Say you had somebody that was struggling, or say if you had a class of new hires that you wanted to be able to set a goal for, but you didn't want the rest of the team to see what they were working towards, you can set a private goal that way as well. So we're going to keep this one public. We're going to start it on today, and it's going to be, we're going to start from today to tomorrow, and it's going to be a progress update over here. So you have two options. So through a manual input form or through automatic through a metric. So for this is going to be a metric because this is going to be calls. I want my teams to hit their call numbers by the end of the week. I want everybody to have at least 50 calls between today and tomorrow. So I'm going to go out, I'm going to navigate to that metric that I want to get updates on for this goal. So I've chosen calls. Computation. So you have the option to choose between a sum, which is obviously the value of the number of calls that your team has made over that period of time, or the average. So for this, I'm going to choose sum. And the target value here is going to be 50. So between today and tomorrow, the goal is for the reps within my BDR team to hit their 50 calls. So again, like we talked about earlier with the straightforward ability within Ambition to utilize our hierarchy setup, I want to utilize users. I'm going to do within, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to select my BDR team. So now I'm establishing individual goals for everybody that falls into the BDR team between today and tomorrow. They all are going to get a goal for creating up to 50 calls, and you'll see that it'll all test populate here. And then all of a sudden, all you have to do is click create down here, and it's going to save for you. You're going to see how many goals are being created for you. Obviously, there's 30 people in my team, so all of those goals are going to be created. They're going to fire out to those individuals, and now those folks will all have the ability to view and see those goals in real time. And you can additionally come out to manage, and you're going to see all these goals that you've just created. So again, hopefully that answered your question on being able to how we utilize Ambition and leverage Ambition to establish goals for a team, or for this example, your users within your team.
Awesome, John. I think that's all the questions we have and all the time we have for today. This is so great. Thanks everyone for joining again. We'll be back on here the second Thursday in March with another fun topic and nuggets of knowledge. So we look forward to seeing you guys all then. Please feel free to send in questions or theme suggestions between now and then. And will we be sending a follow-up email and recording? Yes, we will.
Awesome. Thanks everybody for your time.